Mercado de Lisboa was published in 2020. It's designed by Julian Pombo and Vital Lacerda and illustrated by Pedro Soto. 1 to 4 players place food stands and collect and open restaurants and attract customers in a way to score combos and make money. You only have a choice of 4 actions in the game, but only take 1 action per turn. If you're ever stuck, passing earns you a coin. The end triggers when either all players pass an round or only 4 empty customer or stand/restaurant spaces remain. Finish the round and then add up your money. Players lose a coin for each of their unplayed restaurant tokens. To break it down, place tiles to set up scoring combos from the drafted and placed customers, then use that money to set up bigger combos in the ever-shrinking play area. That's Mercado de Lisboa. Our games of Mercado de Lisboa, including setup and takedown, have averaged around 50 minutes. Players who know what they're doing can get this down to 30 to 40 minutes. Although I enjoy chaos in my games, I prefer this with 3 players. I feel like you have to adjust too frequently with 4, and the game can end before you really could maximize things. I'll go into more details later. I haven't had the chance to try the solo game, but it looks really cool. Set up the game as instructed in order to beat various scenarios. 3 or 4 players need about 3 by 4 feet. The main board is about a standard game board size, and players need a bit of space for their tiles and screens. An experienced 9-year-old gamer may understand the rules, but the drafting, efficiency puzzle, and race against time mean this is probably best saved for experienced 10-year-olds. One way to introduce younger gamers is to use the screens only as a reference. With everything public, kids won't need to track any hidden information. In our third game, Mercado de Lisboa, I placed my great stand to grab a restaurant, placed it for a coin, then drafted a few quick customers to lock in areas to earn me, and me alone, money. This meant I could keep moving quicker than my parents and grandma. Unfortunately, I botched a stand placement by missing something that would have made me more money. With Dad so focused on helping Grandma during her first play, I knew he wouldn't be a threat. I thought I hurt Mom enough in the final turns, but she beat me in the tiebreaker due to having 1 more stand tile out on the board. Mercado de Lisboa's art is gorgeous. The game has good graphic design too, as the iconography is pretty simple to understand. Because of it, the game can be played with non-English speakers. The screens are a handy reference. Tile shapes prevent you from placing customers in stand/restaurants in the wrong places. It all comes together nicely. This game is honestly more confusing to teach than it is to play. Expect your first few turns or even first game to be a bit of trial and error, but you'll soon get the hang of things. Despite the quick playtime, there can be downtime if a player/players suffer from analysis paralysis. AP is when you freeze when making decisions. It's most likely to hit during the second half of the game. More restaurants, stand tiles, and customers are out, so you have to manage your space and time to benefit as much as possible before the end is triggered. Initial setup is random. Which stands do you get? Which stands and customers will be available to draft? And where will the restaurant start? You can develop a plan, but expect to be flexible. Very flexible. You also need to pay attention and be ready to jump on scoring opportunities when possible. Because all player stand tiles are visible, it does give you an idea as to what others intend on doing. In other words, a crud ton of tactics with some short-term strategy. The theme seems calm, but this is incredibly mean. You can directly cause opponents to miss out on money by hate drafting tiles they need or hate placing tiles to block them. I really like how you can trigger scoring in rows and columns, making placing tiles an optimization puzzle. The restaurants set up the combos, while customers attracted the stand tiles earn you either quick and easy money or score a large combo for later in the game. In other words, you need to decide now or later on nearly every turn. Because a row or column can only be scored twice, early choices will affect everyone later, but maybe that was the plan. I enjoy that players can control when the game end is triggered. This can create some stressful, intense situations as you're forced to weigh each decision. As the game goes on, you'll also have to manage your money, remaining time, and available tiles and spaces. Tying into that, one of the end triggers is if everyone passes. This is great because it prevents the game from dragging if people cannot figure out a better option. I love that desperation pass move. Take a coin. It's tempting, right? The thing is, you can almost always earn more, so it's kind of a punishment for not paying attention. But maybe you don't want to place a tile because it moves toward another endgame trigger. Then it's kind of a reward for manipulating time. Very clever. Mercado de Lisboa is a beautiful tile placement game with a spatial puzzle, a connected scoring system, and cleverness tying gameplay with endgame. I recommend this to people who enjoy highly tactical games with a bit of strategy. There's something else to consider. There are a ton of short tactical games for 2 players, but not a lot for 3 and or more that are this quick to play. That alone makes it stand out. Just don't expect it to blow you away or melt your brain like Lacerda's famous advanced strategy games.